Hi, I'm Emma Winterschladen, and this is my second draw-along video for COFIGHT-19. Now, if you joined me for the first one, you'd know we did an underwater scene. And this time we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go on an adventure in an enchanted forest. Lots of us, I know, would love to be going for walks in forests at the minute, and I know that we might not be able to. So I think, why not bring the forest to us? And all the birds, the bees, the creatures, and maybe even the fairies we might find there along the way. Now you don't need much. A pad of paper, a black pen. Now you could use a pencil here, but I think it always looks bolder with a black pen, and it's always more fun to colour in. And for colouring in, all you need is some felt tip pens or coloured pencils as well. Again, I think felt tip pens are a bit more bright for something like this. Let's get started. And remember, I would love to see your picture when you're done. So if you want to share it with me, I'm at HungryRomantic on Instagram. Or maybe you just want to keep it for yourself. So here we are. We've got a blank sheet of paper. And I think we're going to start with a pencil. We're going to have bigger trees at the front. And as we move backwards, they're going to get smaller. So it looks like we're looking through the forest. And I think that's going to be really useful for us when we start adding in all the various creatures. So I think we're going to want a big tree here, sort of the grandfather tree of the forest. And of course on the ground, they're going to have like maybe roots coming out of the ground. And maybe we'll have another tree just sneaking there. And then maybe a tree here. You don't need to worry too much about it at the minute. We're going to do all the specific branches as we go, just getting an idea. And in the background, I think we're going to have, do you see what I mean here? So I'm sort of going back like this. Let's add in a few smaller trees. And already we've got the idea of it going back. Right, now I'm just going to get stuck in. I think it's always good to start with something big that you can then hang the rest of the picture off. With our big tree. Now, I love trees. Just think of how old this particular tree could be, all the secrets it's probably got. I think we'll come up here and let's just do its branches. Now, don't worry too much about the branches. I think the beautiful thing about branches is they're rustic and organic, natural. You can start adding on leaves as we go. But I think for now, I'm going to leave a little gap there so I can put a little bird in there, I think, later on. And I'm just sort of not worrying too much about where things are going. And what you'll see with a scene like this, because it's going to be quite busy, we're actually just going to do it in sort of parts. We're not going to, see what I mean? I'm just sort of adding little bits as we go. So that's the first tree number 1 done. And let's get in a few more trees. And we're not going to complete them too much at this stage because I think we're going to want to add things in front of them and on them, and you know, whether that's animals or even a few in the distance. Then we're going to come over here. And I think we're going to, the idea that there's another big tree just coming out where we are. Branches. And what I do want to do here and you see I've even gone over some of my lines. I'm not sort of, haven't drawn it in pencil and then I'm suddenly thinking, oh, I've got to stick exactly to what I've done. I think you're totally allowed to have a bit of flexibility and just enjoy it. Now, my top tip, by the way, when you're drawing anything that's growing upwards out of the ground, as the tree, the roots start here, they grow up, almost draw it towards the sky, or as in the sky in the picture. For example, you don't necessarily want to be drawing the roots downwards. You want it to have this idea that it's all growing up as the tree would. So when you're drawing, do you notice how I'm going up towards the sky? And that'll just make it all feel a bit more organic. So we want to give this idea, don't we, that we're in the depths of a forest and we're one with nature on our walk. So we've done that. And I think what I might put here is I'll leave that for now, but I am going to draw something there. Can you guess what I might put there? What might we find hanging from a tree? Now, we can definitely put in more leaves later, but I think it's good to get a little bit, stop building up the picture a little bit. So I'm just going to start drawing some leaves. The beautiful thing about a forest, you have lots of different trees with lots of different leaves on them. And remember, we're doing an illustration, so we're not doing a photograph, drawing a photograph. I mean, obviously we're not, but I don't want you to get too worried about, oh, is this exactly what a leaf might look like? As I just want you to have a bit of fun with it, especially here. Leaves are one of my favourite things to draw. Can you see how I'm doing it? So you could do just a smooth leaf like this, or you do a bit more rugged. 1, 2, ooh, jagged edges. Do a few more so you can get a bit of an idea. Do lots of little small ones as well. Now, should we draw our bird in? I think he's calling us, singing. We can hear his bird song. The lovely thing is I can hear the birds outside my window now as I draw. It's going to be sitting. This. Now, for anyone who watched my first video, I showed how to do eyes. And the way to do eyes, so draw your eye. You could do different shape eyes like that. You could do an angry eye. And then you do a circle, depending where it wants to look. So that one, he's looking slightly down, looking straight ahead. Then you do a smaller little oval, a big one and a small one, big one and a small one, and colour in black around them. And the thing about this, and obviously it's not true to life exactly what an eye looks like, but it does mean that it gives bit of life to your eye. Do you know what I mean? And that's really what we want. We're doing a forest, and the forest is alive with animals. And we want those animals to look like they are alive, that they're real, that they've got personalities. He's singing. And if you watched my other video, you'll see that I tend to put a bit of shadowing in. And you can put this in with colour as well, but I think it's always good to start. A little bit of shading can go a long way in bringing your forest scene to life and making it look like, and even we can do it with this tree behind. What do we think? That's some cute little thing here. I think a little rabbit. Maybe his little rabbit friend is here. Let's like spot the rabbits. Just peeking. Another thing you find in forests are mushrooms. So again, that's a lovely thing that you can just add in. What I'm little root of our tree here. Now you might think I'm getting ahead of myself doing detail too early. In actual fact, it really helps sometimes to put in bits of detail as you go along, so you don't have to do it all at once at the end. It helps you. Another tree in here. See him just building up the branches and things behind it. Now, should we draw our main character? So then we can start doing the forest around. Now, I always start with the heads first. Let's do his ear. Looking quite happy, isn't he? And as you can see, his hair almost looks like he's walking in this direction, because it's like the wind's blowing it. That sort of, these little details can really help when you're drawing. He's got tufty hair though. And I think we're going to have him looking up at something. Now, of course, let's put him in some stripes. We don't know yet what he's looking at, do we? Part of the adventure, maybe. I think we want him to have a rucksack, don't we? Because it's almost as if he's gone on an adventure into the woods. So let's have him with his little rucksack strap. Maybe he's pointing it there. So the fingers would be hidden behind. There's his rucksack. Moving it like this makes it look like he's almost running. We don't know what he's looking up to yet, do we? But we can always put that in a bit. Love little details that make it look like he's got his jeans on. Now, what should he be looking at? I think, let's see if you can guess what I'm drawing. It's a beehive, which will have honey in it. Got some honey coming out. What do we think? Now let's get some more trees involved. What about a fox? Should we draw a fox? I think I want him to be looking that way, almost as if he's turning his head. So let's have a go. Now, maybe when you're drawing your fox, you think of the sort of movements of a dog. Of course, they have those lovely bushy tails. I think we don't have any sort of menacing things in here yet, so maybe the fox is the thing that's a little bit naughty. And of course, how do we do that? Well, we go back to the eyes that we did earlier. What about a little hedgehog? The other thing I want to draw is some bluebells. This is a bluebell wood. And did you know that 50% of the world's bluebells can be found in the UK? So, and there's two types of bluebells. There's our native bluebells, which are the ones that sort of droop a little bit more. Maybe the bluebells that you've got on your mind. And then the other type of bluebell is called the Spanish bluebell. And they are a bit more lighter in colour. But the bluebells you're probably thinking of, if you've ever been on a forest walk when the bluebells have been out, they are the kind of bluebells that, you know, when they're just totally carpeted. And, you know, you can draw other plants here. So a good tip is to start putting on little bits of flowers or stalks that could have, you see what I'm doing? And then when we start colouring in, we can add in with the colour the flowers. I'm also going to draw leaves in here. Now I know this feels like I'm going a bit all over the place, but I actually think that's the fun of doing a forest scene, is that everyone's is going to look so different. You've got the trees, you've got the leaves, you've got the animals, you've got the mushrooms, you've got the bluebells, maybe you get a bunny in there. And then I'm starting to build in the trees in the distance. I'd love to see your leaves, how everyone's leaves are different. And can you see how the trees are getting smaller and smaller and thinner as they go back into the distance of the forest? And of course, you could do a scary forest if you wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I want mine to be more of a magical forest. And when I say magic, I just think forests by their very nature are magic. You don't even need anything particularly magic about them. And you see how simply, by just a few black lines with the trees, we've managed to create this sense of being in the forest. And it doesn't just feel like a drawing, does it? It feels like it goes back and it's wide and it's big and it's real. Now, this is where the fun. Do you know what I'm going to draw here? See if anyone can guess. It's a mushroom. A massive, big mushroom. And what do we find on mushrooms in the forest? Well, I know I said we're not going to go too magic, but I think I want to. Let's draw. Here a bit of a giveaway. Any ideas? Who's guessed it? And this is a bit of a complicated one, and I'm going to talk you through how you do it. And again, I don't want you to worry if you don't get it exact. but I want my little forest creature to be hugging her arms in. So can you see what I'm doing here? These are the knees. And let's draw an arm. Comes out. And I want it to hug. See what I'm going with this, anyone? And I want another arm. To hug it. Now I should add, you can draw your fairy. Oh, I've just given the game away. It's a fairy. In whatever way you want to. I just love the idea of them sitting, watching the forest. As people pass by. And we're doing some shadow. Get the idea of her sitting on her mushroom. Or maybe we do some stars. Of course, all your fairies can wear whatever they'd like to wear. And she's obviously wearing her fairy shoes. Pointy tips. It's going to be fun when we start coming to colour in. Now, what have I missed? The face! The face. I think we want our fairy to look lovely. Now, the finer your pen, the more you're going to get a detailed face. Mine's quite a thick pen, so I'm keeping it really, really simple. But, of course, one thing we do want to make sure our fairy has is fairy wings. Which I sort of see as being a bit like butterfly wings. The lovely veins and things coming off them. And of course we can make it look a bit more magical in our enchanted forest. Some little stars around her. So let's draw some more stars. Small stars, big stars. Like this. Putting in some branches now. And we're coming to the end now of our forest scene. But the fun part is drawing the details. you can see here, I'm gonna sort of these trees. Add a bit of shadow to the trees. Let's do some sort of squiggly vines. Or ferns, I think you'd call these. Just doing sort of branches that look like they're coming out of the ground. Now a great trick here, and we'll do this with the colour more than anything, but I'll just show you, is to make bark look like bark. What I'm doing, sort of. See what I'm doing? It's quite fun, isn't it? Just sort of swirly whirly patterns. I'm going to finish that off with the colouring when we come to colouring in. Small bluebells. And I'm just sort of filling it in as I go, you know. I'm not being too precious about it. Don't want it to be too dark and gloomy, mind. What do we think? We've almost finished our enchanted forest scene. See how I'm just doing a bit of shadow behind our Leo, as we've called him. Small leaves. I'm not saying much as I'm doing this, but I'm sort of concentrating because, as I said before, this is a really fun part, is filling in all the bits and bobs as you go. Do you know what I think is missing from up here? And I promise it's the last thing I'm going to draw. I'm not going to make it more difficult than it needs to be for you all. I'm going to draw an owl. I think he's going to be sitting. Going to have his own little pouch in our tree. Or rather a nest. Mr. Wise Owl. I've just put a pair of glasses on my owl, everyone, because he's wise. And then everyone knows that owls have these sort of little spikes, don't they? Right, should we get colouring in? Now, for this, I'm going to speed it up when we do it because colouring up always takes a little bit longer than the drawing. Let's go.
over something I don't see. Are they singing out a song, or is it a human mocking game? Or are they warning us of earthquake, of blood, or a flame? I know somewhere along we forgot how to listen to their songs. And when did these paths diverge? Was it when technology emerged, or at the onset of the written word, or when we stopped listening to the birds? Perched high, the towhee reminds me to drink my tea. The charming chickadee warmly whistles, "Hey, sweetie." The wood thrush pipes his flute, the operatic warbler trills. Nighttime brings the lonesome morn of relentless whippoorwill. We want to sing along. First, we must relearn their songs, and I wonder, when did these paths diverge? Was it when we stabbed a plow into the earth, or when we replaced the great outdoors with a church, or when we stopped listening to the birds? We are all visitors to this precious earthliness. We're acting like we own the place, but we don't pay the rent. We're far too old to be cleaned up after when we leave a mess. So let's do our own dishes, let's be respectful guests. The dawn and the dusk, they're the gifts of the messengers. The eyes of the sky that touch down here on earth. Their syncopated whistles, interspecies polyrhythms. We decode the...
And there we have it, our walk in an enchanted bluebell forest. I'd love to see your pictures, so if you want to share them with me, please do. And I hope you've enjoyed drawing your forest as much as I have drawing along with you. Thanks for joining, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!